like to call Congress back into order after a brief recess for engrossment. We're now on agenda item 3, approval of the journal. If Congressman members take a moment, we have 2 on our table today, one for day 9th, well, actually it was the 28th, but the 29th and the 30th of September is what you have. Congressman Walker.
Well, I didn't really look at the top date, but I did tackle the smaller ones. Just motion to approve the journal from September 30th.
Second.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the journal for the 30th, say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the journal passes. Did I say the wrong day? Okay. Congresswoman Edwards. Have a motion and a second to approve the 29th journal. Any discussion? All in favor, Congressman Mason wants an abstention notice on that. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the journal is approved. We are now on reports of select committees. Are there any select committees to report? Congresswoman Pratt.
Thank you, Speaker. Members of Congress, Rules and Ethics met reporting bill number ONCA 1591, an act to amend and restate the Osage Nation Gaming Reform Act of 2007, 14 ONC section 12-105 into a effective date. The sponsor is Speaker Whitehorn, co-sponsor Congressman Mason. Final committee action is due pass is properly engrossed with 2 yes votes from Pratt and Supernal, 1 absent Shaw. Bill number ONCA 1593, an act to provide an appropriation for cultural donations in the amount of $79,500 for fiscal year 2016 and to establish an alternate effective date. The sponsor is John Yett, co-sponsors Alice Buffalohead, Shannon Edwards, and Angela Pratt. Final committee action due pass is properly engrossed with 3 yes votes from Pratt, Shaw, and Supernal. Bill ONCA 1595 to establish a matching grant to promote the Osage Nation for artists, arts, historical, and cultural organizations up to a maximum of $15,000 per grant. To authorize and direct the Osage Nation Foundation to establish criteria for the grant, to review applications and determine grant recipients, and to administer the grant funds, to appropriate $80,000 to the Osage Nation Foundation for grant funding, and to establish an alternate effective date. The sponsor is Shannon Edwards. The final committee action is due pass is properly engrossed with 3 yes votes from Pratt, Shaw, and Supernal. And bill number ONCA 1597, an act to require the Osage Nation to utilize drug testing protocols to ensure the proper collection and interpretation of test results for the results for the benefit of employees, and to establish an alternate effective date. Sponsor is Ron Shaw. Final committee action is due pass is properly engrossed with 3 yes votes from Pratt, Shaw, and Supernal.
Thank you, Congresswoman Pratt. Next item on the agenda is reports of standing committees. Are there any standing committees to report? Congressman Walker.
Good afternoon, Speaker, members of Congress. Governmental Operations Committee met yesterday. Considered bill number ONCA 1596, an act to amend the Osage Nation Revenue and Taxation Act of 2006 as amended, 26 ONC section 1-101 at sec, to change the vehicle registration tax table, to change the motorcycle and all-terrain vehicle registration tax, to change the boat and motor registration fees, and to establish an alternate effective date. Sponsor is William Supernal. Committee action is due pass with amendments. Voting yes, Walker, Buffalohead, Shaw, Pratt, and Supernal.
Could you please restate that bill number for me? I don't seem to have it up here in front of me.
1596.
1596. Thank you, I have it.
Committee also considered bill number ONCA 15-100, an act to amend 19 ONC section 3-104 of the Osage Nation Workforce Pay for Performance Act to replace language unintentionally deleted by previous amendment and to establish an alternate effective date. The sponsor is Maria Whitehorn. Committee action is due pass. Voting yes, Walker, Buffalo Head, Shaw, Pratt, and Supernaut.
Thank you, Congressman. ONCA 1596 and ONCA 15100 are advanced to general order. Congressman Walker.
Just curious, you guys may have addressed this in an earlier discussion that I wasn't paying completely attention to. Is there any intention to move these bills further on today's
I
agenda?
don't believe there's any reason to do that today. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
Congressman Yak.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of Congress, Appropriations Committee met September 30th, 2015 on bill number ONCA 15104, an act to amend 15 ONC section 1A-101 to add definitions from promote uniform use, meaning an application to be used in all appropriation legislation, support documentation, budgeting, and spending, and to establish an alternate effective date sponsored by Congresswoman Edwards. Committee action will be passed with amendments, voting yes for Pratt, Shaw, Edwards, absent for Mason and Supernaut.
Thank you, Congressman. ONCA 15104 is advanced to general order. Congresswoman Pratt.
The Cultural Committee met and reporting bill number ONCR 1528, a resolution to express support for the submission of a budget by the Hominy Village Committee to either renovate and repair the Hominy Village Community Center or to design and build a new Hominy Village Community Center in the Hominy Indian Village. The sponsor is Shannon Edwards, co-sponsors John Maker, William Supernaut, Otto Hamilton, James Norris, Alice Buffalo Head, and Angela Pratt. The final committee action is due pass with amendments with 6 yes votes from Pratt, Hamilton, Supernaut, Buffalo Head, Maker, and Norris. Also, bill number ONCR 1529, a resolution to express support for the submission of a budget by the Gray Horse Village Committee to either renovate and repair the Gray Horse Village Community Center or to design and build a new Gray Horse Village Community Center in the Gray Horse Indian Village. The sponsor is Archie Mason, co-sponsors John Maker, James Norris, William Supernaut, and Otto Hamilton. Final committee action is due pass with 6 yes votes from Pratt, Hamilton, Supernaut, Buffalo Head, Maker, and Norris.
Thank you, Congresswoman. ONCR 1528 and ONCR 1529 are advanced to general order. Are there any more standing committees to report? Seeing none, we are now on introduction of bills and resolutions. Are there any bills or resolutions to be introduced? Seeing none, we are now on bills and resolutions on first reading. Under that heading, I believe Congressman Mason has a resolution.
Thank you, Madam Speakers and members of Congress. Referencing ONCR 1530, a resolution commending John Maker for the honor bestowed upon him by the Brotherhood of Pesca de Revisales, France, and directing distribution.
Thank you, Congressman. Do you have an idea how you would wish to proceed with this today?
Just let it flow, regular process, and move on it again tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we are now on bills and resolutions on general order. ONCR 1530 is advanced to general order. We are now on general order day 1. The legislation is read in by the sponsor. And the first bill under that heading is ONCA 1501. I believe that would be your bill, Congressman Mason. Maker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, members of Congress. Madam Speaker, this bill has been discharged because it was actually a duplication of an earlier bill. So this has been withdrawn.
So you would like to request it be withdrawn. So without objection, ONCA 15101 is withdrawn by the sponsor.
Thank you.
Thank you. second bill under that heading is ONCA, is Congresswoman Pratt.
Thank you, Speaker. Reading in ONCA 15102, an act to amend 6 ONC Section 5-206 titled the Osage Nation Anti-Methamphetamine Joint Task Force to change the name, scope, and composition of the task force and to establish an alternate effective date.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Congresswoman Buffalo ahead.
ONCA 15107, an act to provide financial assistance to disabled members of the Osage Nation to authorize and appropriate $50,000 and to provide an alternate effective date.
Thank you, Congresswoman. We are now on General Order Day 3. The amendments are voted on and order received. And the first bill that has amendments to it is ONCA 1590. I believe you guys all have copies of the amendments before you. The amendment is page 2, line 49. Move section 2 scope down and insert the following new paragraph. F. Capital improvements or maintenance on any one property up to $150,000 in a 12-month period are authorized without further legislative action. Purchase of real property or capital assets up to $250,000 per transaction are also authorized without further legislative action. Is there any discussion to this amendment? Congresswoman Edwards.
I guess I'm confused by the amendment because I thought that if Congress had approved the capital improvements project, it went into the capital improvement fund. And we got a budget and we heard about what that capital improvement was. And the purpose of the bill is that if there are funds left over after that project because it was overbid or something about it changed and there were funds left over after the project was over, then the funds reverted back to general treasury. I'm having trouble understanding what this amendment does because this amendment sounds like, well, if there's $150,000 left and you want to do a capital improvement project or you want to go buy some land and there happens to be $250,000 left, I guess the director or the director of the capital improvements department or somebody can go and go buy land. I don't know who the somebody is, but that's what it seems like to me. It's saying is that if there's any money in the fund, you can go make up to $150 worth of maintenance or new improvements, and you can go buy land with the money. You don't have to come back to Congress and say, hey, I want to go buy some property. And I thought the whole purpose of that fund was for specific projects, to hold money for specific projects. So can the movement tell me what the purpose is of the amendment?
Congressman Walker.
Well, I was the movement, and I really don't understand the confusion. I mean, at least the way you posed your question, I guess that was a question to me. Before, in the Capital Asset Improvement Fund, there was no limitation. That's why Congressman Shaw felt compelled to bring forward this bill, which would require all unexpended monies to go back into the general treasury. Capital Asset Improvement Fund is a revolving fund, not subject to fiscal year limitations, and the executive branch has the ability to purchase property and improve assets. Okay, so I understand Congress's desire to limit, or in my opinion, or take away, in my opinion, I would prefer to limit their ability. I think if we just totally take the fund away, then for every little piddly anything that comes up, we're going to be called back into the special session. This gives him the ability to make improvements to our assets, and if something comes up, I'm not saying one piece of property, but within a 1 year's time, $250,000 again. I understand that if we have a $3 million project that is funded out of the Capital Asset Improvement Fund, and the project comes in bid at, say, $2.4 million, there's a $600,000 left or carryover or leftover funds, and then they go purchase a $500,000 piece of property. I can understand Congress having a problem with that. That would be a big capital asset, or that'd be a big purchase. So I just wanted to give them some flexibility. I believe I looked back on this bill when it was passed back in 2012, and it passed unanimously, because the government at that time realized the need for a revolving fund to do these types of things. So that's the purpose of the amendment, and that's all I have to say about that right now.
Congressman Shaw and then Congresswoman Edwards.
As I review the Act ONCA 12107 that created the revolving fund for capital assets and capital improvement, Section 1 under purpose reads, "The purpose of this act is to establish a fund for capital asset and capital improvement expenditures in furtherance of the Osage Nation's pursuit of the campus master plan and capital investment." Expenditures out of the capital asset improvement fund shall be directed by the executive branch, and that shall be consistent with the stated purpose of this act. I suppose there's always some room in interpretation of language, but I don't believe there's anything in there that expresses the intent for leftover funds to be used for miscellaneous projects that may occur and come before the executive branch's needs. I do think this first year would be more difficult and places a burden on the executive branch, such that where they had probably planned to perhaps use some of the leftover funds that are currently in that fund for miscellaneous projects that are necessary and have merit. I still believe that up to $400,000 a year in unappropriated, non-budgeted projects that would not come before the Congress are unnecessary and represent revenue that the Osage Nation Congress should have to appropriate for consideration of other projects. My recommendation is to vote no for the amendment, and when the time for the alternative effective date comes, to vote no for that. That will give the executive branch 2 additional months to decide what they want to do that's remaining this year, that they can draw on current funds in there to be able to budget and encumber. After that 2 years, 2 months, any monies left will be back to the Treasury that are not contracted for and unencumbered. Remember, an amendment specified that any current contracts or encumbrances will still remain in effect. So we're trying to compromise with the executive branch, allow them some use of that money that they've already contracted and encumbered. But following that, we are reset. Going forward, those projects, including up to $400,000 as proposed in the amendment, will need to be budgeted and appropriated by the Congress.
Is there any more discussion to the amendment? Not the main bill. Congresswoman Edwards.
Well, I understood that money gets into the fund pursuant to a budget that's brought to Congress that says this is how much this capital improvement should cost. And so there's a couple of things that are wrong. If it's off so much that you can go spend $250,000 on a piece of property or $150,000 on something else, that's $400,000. So in a project, you're off $400,000. And I think that defeats the whole purpose of the bill if you're going to say, A, you can over budget by $400,000 on any project, and B, you can keep it and go spend it however you want. To me, the Capital Asset Improvement Fund was a place to hold funds for projects that were going to take more than 1 year. And this is talking about spending money that was ill budgeted in the first place, so I won't be voting in favor of it.
Any more debate? Congressman Walker?
We could argue and debate this till the cows come home. I'll be surprised if it does pass. I'll be shocked if this isn't vetoed. We're not going to have a chance to override it anyway, so really kind of a waste of time. Be interested in this. I guess it'd be pocket veto. But anyway, Chief, this will give the chief an opportunity to have some fun and call us into special sessions to fix some light fixtures.
Any more discussion to the amendment? Roll call, please.
Excuse me, Congresswoman Edwards?
No?
Congressman Yeck?
No.
Congressman Maker?
Yes.
Congressman Mason?
Yes.
Congressman Norris?
No.
Congresswoman Pratt?
No.
Congressman Shaw?
No?
Congressman Supernaw?
No.
Congressman Walker?
Yes.
Congresswoman Buffalohead?
No.
Speaker Whitehorn?
No. The amendment fails. I'm going to read that off the chart. The next resolution to be amended is ONCR 1521. It's the resolution to set the compensation and reimbursement allowance for the boards and commissions of the Osage Nation for fiscal year 2016 and fiscal year 2017. I'm going to, you have the amendments in front of you, but I'm going to read them off the journal. It's a little bit more clear if you guys want to use that. The first amendment is page 2, line 49. Strike Osage LLC and insert Tallgrass Economic Development LLC. Is there any discussion to the amendment? Congressman Shaw.
With the permission of the Congress, my second, I'd like to withdraw that amendment.
Without objection, the amendment is withdrawn. We're now on Amendment 2. Page 2, line 61, strike and. Page 2, line 62, after trustees, add Osage LLC. Is there any discussion? Congressman Shaw.
These two amendments are linked, and for a similar reason, I'd like to withdraw Amendment 2.
Without objection, the amendment is withdrawn. We're on Amendment number 3. Page 2, line 69, strike $10,800 and insert $13,800. Is there any discussion to the amendment? Congresswoman Edwards.
I'd ask the movement to let us know how that amount of money was determined. I see that there are various different amounts for a chairman of a board. One of them $600, one of them $4,200, $3,200, one of them $3,000. And so the question is how he determined that number.
Congressman Shaw.
I'm happy to. As you can see, there's a pattern throughout all the boards of a higher stipend for the chairman, presumably an acknowledgement of the additional work done by the chair of the board. There are varying amounts. If you look, you see the chairman's stipend of the business board receives $4,200 more per year per stipend. And two of the other board categories, the board chairman received $3,000 a year more than the rest of the board members. My purpose in raising the $10,800 to $13,800 was to similarly set the level of the health board chairman to be $3,000 higher as in the two of the other board categories. It was to try to remain consistent with that increased board stipend for the chairman.
Is there any more discussion to the motion? The amendment? The question is, shall the amendment pass? Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Congressman Yeck,
Yes.
Congressman Maker,
Yes.
Congressman Mason,
Yes.
Congressman Norris,
Yes.
Congresswoman Pratt,
Yes.
Congressman Shaw,
Yes.
Congressman Supernaw,
Yes.
Congressman Walker,
Yes.
Congresswoman Buffalo
No.
Congresswoman Edwards,
Yes.
Speaker Whitehorn.
No. The amendment passes. We are now on amendment number 4, page 2, page 1 and 2, lines 45, 53, 59, 66, and 72. Strike lines 45, 53, 59, 66, and 72. That was the amendment. Is there any discussion to the amendment? Congressman Shaw.
The amendment and restatement to the Boards and Commissions Act removed the meal line item and as one of the allowed types of compensation for the boards. The current resolution has the line items for meals up to $250. To remain consistent with the Boards and Commissions Act, these are to strike those line items from
Thank
the
you.
resolution.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion? The question is, shall the amendment pass? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Are there any opposed? Seeing none, the amendment passes. We're on amendment number 6. Page 2, line 52, strike 10,000 and insert 11,250. Page 2, line 58, strike 6,000 and insert 6,750. Page 2, line 65, strike 2,000 and insert 2,250. Page 2, line 71, strike 10,000 and insert 11,250. Is there any discussion to that amendment? Oh, excuse me,
Did you
Congressman.
skip Amendment 5?
I did. I turned to my page already. Excuse me. We will go back because they have to be voted on in order. I marked the wrong one, passed. Okay. Amendment 5, page 1, line 44, strike 2,000 and insert 2,250. Is there any discussion to that motion? Congressman Shaw.
Probably the most common question I've been asked about my amendments has been, how come there's 250 more put in these categories? This is an attempt on my part to, in an effort to compensate for the loss of $250 in meals per year per board member, to maintain that by rolling it into the travel line item. So really the decision before Congress on this amendment is, we just want to take away the meals, that's been taken away. What do you want to do with the $250 that used to be in meals? Leave that out as well, or simply roll it into travel? There was some discussion earlier about rolling everything into one amount and not even have stipend and travel and meal. This is still consistent with that thought, although we chose not to roll everything into one line item. But it's not an increase in compensation. Meals are out, that $250 is in for travel. So it's really a budget neutral type amendment.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion to Congresswoman Edwards?
Well, we have $6 million less in money to spend this year than we had last year, so to me, and there's almost $1 million in this bill, so to me, the $250 is something that needs to come out because we have less money to spend. And I'm also confused about why we, in some of these boards, made it per member and other boards made it for all members, because I remember the discussion in a special session where we let them elect if they wanted to, but apparently now we're not letting them elect, we're telling them. So I will not be voting in favor of this because I think that the travel reimbursement is adequate given our financial situation.
I had Congresswoman Buffalo Head next. Are you ready, prepared, or shall I call on somebody else?
I am. I can't find it. I'll be voting no, and it doesn't have anything to do per se with the Health Authority Board. But rather, I was sitting here one day with some spare time, and I started looking through boards and commissions, and was quite alarmed with different pays. Some of the budget showed a chair got a little bit more money, some didn't. The pays were just scattered. It looked like there was no rhyme or reason. I actually sent a couple of members a text and said, how'd we come up with these numbers? I mean, the gaming board gets paid this, the health board gets paid this, one gets paid, none of the numbers are consistent. I'm in favor that we, this year, between now and next fall, we take a serious look at boards and commission and try to come up with something that makes sense, because right now those numbers don't make any sense. So that's why I'm voting no. To me, this just adds to the messiness of the budgets for boards and commissions that doesn't make any sense.
Congressman
I think
Shaw.
if your end goal as regards this particular amendment and later on the vote on the compensation resolution is to reduce the compensation of the boards and commissions, then this is one way to do it, by voting no on this amendment. On the other hand, if you feel like perhaps there should be another time to discuss the merits of either increasing or decreasing their compensation, then I would vote yes for that amendment, because it keeps the total compensation level right now. And as regards the health board, their entire health board budget, except for the administrative assistant, is paid for by federal funding agreement funds. We don't even pay for that with tribal funds. But that's just one board. Okay. Nonetheless, that has reduced our tribal appropriations significantly from last year, where it was $300 and some thousand for the Health Authority Board, for example. So anyway, I would urge you to vote yes to allow you to preserve the current compensation level for the boards.
Any more discussion? The question is, shall the amendment pass? Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Congressman Naker?
No.
Congressman Mason?
Yes.
Congressman Norris?
Yes.
Congresswoman Pratt? No. Congressman Shaw?
Yes?
Congressman Supernaw?
No.
Congressman Walker?
No.
Congresswoman Buffalohead?
No.
Congresswoman Edwards?
No.
Congressman Yeck?
No.
Speaker Whitehorn?
No. The amendment fails. We're on amendment number 6 now. Page 2, line 52, strike 10,000 and insert 11,250. Page 2, line 58, strike.
Point of order. Those were all one amendment.
Anywhere. It says amendment number
Yeah,
5.
number 5.
It doesn't say amendment number 6.
This is page 2.
My sheet of paper says that this is one amendment. Amendment number 5, page 1, and then there's a page 2.
Received.
Okay.
Okay? Amendment 1, page 1, line 29 through 30, strike or commission. Page 1, line 36, strike or commission. Is there any discussion to the amendment? Congresswoman Edwards.
The underlying bill calls it a commission board now, not just a commission. So this amendment is made to be consistent with the bill, which we were advised is going to be signed into law.
Is there any more discussion to the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, say yes.
Yes.
Are there any opposed? Seeing none, the amendment passes. Amendment 2, page 1, line 40, strike editorial board, traditional cultural advisors committee, and Osage Nation Foundation board. Congresswoman Edwards.
I'd like to withdraw that amendment and the next 1, 2, 3 amendments.
Okay, so you're withdrawing amendment number 2. Are you looking in the journal, Congresswoman, or on your sheet? Because your sheet's a little hard to understand. That's why I'm reading out of the journal. I want to make sure you're withdrawing the...
Is that journal for the 29th?
Yeah, it is the journal of the 30th, excuse me. Yes, the 30th. It's on page 4 of that journal, and that's what I'm reading from, because
withdraw amendment number 2, amendment number 3, amendment number 5, and amendment number 6.
So you're withdrawing amendment number 2, amendment number 3, amendment number 5, and amendment number 6. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now I'm on amendment number 4, page 1, line 55. Strike business and insert board, and strike the remainder of the sentence. Is there any discussion to that amendment?
Amendment to make sure that's right. I have an amendment to the amendment. Strike the remainder of the sentence.
Have a motion and a second for an amendment to the amendment. Is there any discussion to the amendment to the amendment? Do you have that yet, Congress? Clerk? Okay. Is there any discussion? I'll give you a minute to write it. Congressman Walker.
We are on amendment 4, correct?
Yes, sir. She just proposed an amendment to the amendment, and it's been seconded. So we're in discussion on the amendment to the amendment, and we're waiting to have it written up here and give it to the clerk. Congressman Walker, in discussion?
Just so I'm on the right same piece of music here, there is no remainder of the sentence, is that correct? Is that the reason you're
Striking the
portion?
desire to strike the remainder of the sentence.
Because there is no remainder of the sentence?
There is a remainder of the sentence. I want it to stay in now.
Okay, is there any more discussion on the amendment to the amendment? Congressman Walker.
I just want to make sure that I know what I'm voting on. I'm looking at ONCA or ONCR 1521, line 55. Says Business Commission.
Congressman Walker, the chair would entertain a moment for a brief recess right now.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
We are in a brief